We are one day away from the largest protest in American history. Let that set in. According to organizers, No King's Day 2.0 is set to not only be the largest protest in American history, but beat any protest during the Trump administration, during the first Trump administration several years ago. I just spoke with Ezra Levin, and that interview is coming momentarily in this video, who told me that not only are we expecting to see 10 million plus Americans take the streets tomorrow, we have over 2,600 protests scheduled across the country, but also across the globe in places like Ireland and elsewhere. But because of what Republicans are doing in terms of calling it a hate America rally and trying to attack the No King's Day protest, their signups have doubled, folks, doubled in the past several days. People are excited. People are marching. I speak with Ezra about what people should do if they're afraid to come out and protest, what's next, and what they should expect tomorrow. So if you want to share this work, please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And let's just jump right into the interview with Ezra right now. Super excited to be joined on the eve of the massive No King's Day protests by Ezra Levin, who is one of the leading organizers of tomorrow's No King's Day protest. Ezra, great to be here. I know you're super busy, so I want to jump right in and just talk about sheer numbers. What are we looking at? How many people do you think are going to be protesting tomorrow?
Look, it's going to be historic. I think that the context that I think is important here is the single largest day of protest in the first Trump term was families belong together. This was against the family separation policy. It was incredible. It was powerful. It embarrassed the administration, forced them to roll back some of their worst policies. It had 750 events on one day. It was great. We were part of it. What we're looking at Saturday, tomorrow, is 2,648 events. We're not doubling. We're not tripling. We are nearly quadrupling the size of the largest protest in the first Trump term. This is going to be, I can tell you with confidence, the largest peaceful protest in modern American history.
Wow. And just to give some estimates, I mean, 10 million, 15 million people, what are we looking at?
It's a very difficult thing to judge ahead of time. We had about 6 million people out at the June No Kings protest, which was itself historic. Based on the numbers I'm saying, it's going to be bigger. We had 2,169 events for that protest. We have another nearly 500 events on the map for tomorrow. I think it's going to be very big.
And this isn't just in the States, right? I mean, you guys have folks marching worldwide. Tell us about that.
They're in Ireland, they're in London, they're in Sweden, they're in Germany, they're in France, they're in Central America. Look, it turns out kings are not popular in much of the world, and there are a lot of folks across the country and across the world who draw inspiration from that fact. The goal of this protest, in part, was to build as big of a tent as possible. I'm a strong believer that if you're organizing with people who you just fully agree with on everything, your room's too small. Your organizing effort is too small. You've got to build a big tent when the authoritarians are coming for you. We can have disagreements about what we're going to do afterwards. I think that's healthy. I think that's good. But right now, it's important for all of us to come out and say, foundationally, we don't do kings.
I got to ask you to get your reaction on a couple of things. The first, I don't know if you saw, but Move On, their communications director, publicly said that the RSVP numbers are doubling after Mike Johnson and Republicans started calling this a hate America rally. Can you confirm that?
So what we have seen, can I tell you, Aaron, I don't know why the Republicans are doing what they're doing. It is utterly ridiculous. You know, the Streisand effect, this idea that you start focusing on something and then suddenly everybody else is focusing on it, even though your intent was to undermine it. That's what we're seeing here. So the Republicans are now talking all about No King's Day, trying to smear us, trying to dissuade people from coming, and it's having the exact opposite effect. It is skyrocketing the numbers of people who are RSVPing and the number of people who have registered events. So, we didn't pay them anything for the free publicity. We're apparently living rent-free in their head. I welcome it. I'm happy with that. I hope people see these smears and say, well, screw that. I'm not going to let them dissuade me from exercising my First Amendment rights. I'm going to get some friends together. We're going to go out and we're going to show these fools what America is actually all about.
Well, I also got to ask you, because there's a lot of fear among people who are going to go out and protest right now, and partly because of the rhetoric that is coming out of Washington, D.C., but also, I don't know if you saw, but over the past 24 hours, Texas Governor Abbott and Virginia Governor Youngkin have both mobilized the National Guard. They're putting the National Guard at these protests. What's your response to that, and what's your response to folks who are nervous?
Look, we do not obey in advance. We do not let them take our power. We don't let them take our joy. They want you to be scared. They want you to be afraid. Every authoritarian regime wants that. Don't give it to them. Do not give it to them. My favorite response was from the folks organizing the Austin No Kings rally. They said, well, I hope the National Guard members enjoy the music and dancing. That's what we're bringing. It's going to be fun. There's going to be chanting. We're going to be exercising our rights. If people are worried by what this regime is doing, the best thing to do, don't back down. Stand up in community against it. And let me tell you, we have trained tens of thousands of people on de-escalation and safety and security. We have thousands of marshals trained. Every one of the 2,648 events on the map right now have a safety lead and a safety plan. If they didn't have that, they're off the map. We are committed to the principles of peaceful protest. Everything we're going to be doing on Saturday is peaceful. I cannot control what the MAGAs do. I can't control what this regime does. But I know that the single best response that will keep us actually safe is showing up in big numbers, committed to that peaceful protest mentality.
Well, what should folks do if they're at a protest tomorrow and violence does break out? Because you can't control everything, and you never know what could happen. And let's say in one protest some violence breaks out. What should folks do at that protest?
Well, look, so first of all, don't come thinking about this for the first time just in that protest moment. If you go to nokings.org, click trainings, you will see a lot of trainings that we've done. Watch one of those or skim it really quickly. Get some of the basics of what you should understand. Don't just be there alone all by yourself where nobody knows that you're there. Have a friend who knows that you're there or a group of friends who you're connected to. And be aware of your surroundings and be prepared to exercise caution and respond thoughtfully in the moment. Do not, under any circumstances, look to escalate or confront or build up that. That is not how we win. That is not how we win. It does not matter if they are out instigating. We are not going to feed that because we are going to win by remaining committed to peaceful protest. That's how we win.
Are you at all concerned that the administration may use one of these protests as a, way to instigate something so that they can then go and send more National Guard and troops across the country or even invoke the Insurrection Act, for example?
Frankly, Aaron, I don't think they need the excuse. They're fine making it up. They are invading and occupying American cities now. They're sending a secret police force to terrorize American communities now. They're dragging children outside of apartment buildings and zip tying them now. Unfortunately, things are pretty gnarly out there right now. And I believe that the only thing that is successfully pushing back against authoritarian regimes like this is this kind of broad-based, ideologically diverse, geographically dispersed, peaceful protest. So I think that images coming out of Chicago are atrocious. I think the images that were coming out of LA are atrocious. I think the ridiculous attack on Portland is ridiculous and offensive. And we can't stop that unless we organize ourselves.
I do want to ask you a couple questions before I let you go, specifically about the Washington, D.C. protest, because that's where I'll be at. We had over 100,000 people there on June 14th. Do you expect that number to be broken?
I do expect that. Look, we're talking about occupied territory now. D.C. is one of these places that has been invaded and occupied by the federal government. The National Guard is there. They're trying to force D.C. into submission. And I was part of the Free D.C. protests earlier this year. They were impressive sights. I think we're going to see a really incredible showing on Saturday.
Could you give us any insight into who's maybe speaking at the rally tomorrow?
I can't yet because it's not public, but you're going to hear it. You're going to hear it pretty soon. There's a great lineup.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thanks so much for joining me today. And I know a lot of folks are excited for tomorrow. So thanks for putting it together. We really appreciate it.
I'll see you out there. Thanks, Aaron.
Hey, folks. Aaron Parnas here. Thank you so much for watching The Parnas Perspective. Please consider subscribing to support our work as we grow this independent news media entity into something that rivals mainstream every single day. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon.